I'm currently discussing a little bit on the Feb exam preparation. I'm going to assume that we have about 30 days left, Feb 2024 exams. Now, some hooks, like some strategies on how to prepare for the exam. Okay. Now, the general understanding is if you're taking the Feb exams in about 30 days, by this time, you should have reached to a level where you've completed your curriculum or syllabus at least at 95% level. Is that a fair assumption for most of you candidates? Have you finished a few, smaller sections here and there is okay, but you've finished a big chunk of your syllabus. If you've not finished your curriculum, then probably we need to kind of evaluate what are our options. Okay. Now, what do I mean by having completed curriculum? So you've gone through the learning material through all the concepts. Now, there are multiple ways in which you can do this. You've gone through our video material, you've read through curriculum, whatever it is. So you've gone through all the important concepts. You have gone through all the CFA curriculum end of the chapter questions. And you've gone through all those within text examples, right? They call them practice questions, or we call them as blue boxes. You've gone through all those blue box examples for majority of the syllabus. If you're here, then you're more or less in a comfortable situation. All right. Now what you need to do, either you've seen videos or you've done curriculum, but you understand the concept. It doesn't really matter which way you reach there. You might have read curriculum, or you just saw our videos, and you feel comfortable. I know what MWRR is, TWRR is. It's fine. It's either or. If ideally in an ideal world we do both, but not necessary, right? As long as you know what MWRR, TWRR, Ricardian equivalence, and I can go on, right? If you know these things, you're all right. Now, what to do in the last 30 days? Here's what you need to do. The most important thing on your checklist should be mock exams. Okay, mocks. What we expect you to do is to write at least, so 7 mocks would be released on FinTree's that LMS system, and 2 mocks is what CFAI will be providing to you, right? So looking at practicing at least 9 mocks. When you do these 9 mocks, in this mock, the strategy is like this, right? Let's say that you've dedicated a day for writing a mock. Your first paper in the morning, you have to write between 9 to 11:15. Okay. So lock yourself into a room, distraction free, and then follow precisely the schedule that you would be following on the final test. Okay. So if your final test is going to be between 9 to 11:15, you have to time it precisely, exactly in the same way. Then you take that 30-minute window, and then you write your next mock from 11:45 to 2 o'clock. So which means by 2, you've kind of finished your first mock. Now, what you want to do for the rest of the day, which is, let's say, from about 3 to whatever time you generally study, right? Let's say 10 p.m. The rest of the day, you want to review the mock. Okay, I would recommend you spend a lot of time analyzing your mocks. Now, what do I mean by analyzing mocks? So I'll show you an example of what I used to do when, I used to prepare for exams. And so I will say question number, and then which subject did I get this from? And then I would have a right or wrong, right? So a right, whether I got this question right or wrong, right or wrong. Then if wrong, then the nature of mistake, and then what is my learning out of it. Okay. So let's assume we have, I don't know, 180 questions. So I'll do it for 180 questions here. I also split them into morning and afternoon. Obviously, the sequence will do it. Let's say the first question was from ethics. If I got it right, I'll give myself a 1 so that I can count it. If I got it wrong, I will give myself a 0, right? That way. Then what kind of mistake I did? Now, I would try to elaborate on what kind of mistake. For example, let's say did not read the F question. Okay, so I'm not reading the question well. That could be one. Or did not know the concept. Okay, or it could be forgot the formula. So you figure out these 10, 15 types of common mistakes you make, fill them up. And then what do you need to do? So for example, did not read the question. So what is my learning? Read the F question going forward, right? So this is my learning. And then did not know the concept. So what are you going to do? Then for this question, you're going to read the curriculum and then you're going to write down the summary of that concept here for yourself. Okay. And this way, every mistake that you do, you treasure it. Now, obviously, let's assume this was also a mistake. Every mistake that you make, that's your gold. उस gold से फायदा उठाना, you want to take benefit of that gold as much as possible. Once you fill in this Excel file, then you should be able to create a dashboard, right? Dashboard should be analytical dashboard, which should be a little bit like this. It should obviously have like what is my score in ethics, what is my score in quant, what is my score in economics in percentage term. So maybe ethics I did 40%, and quant I did 70%, 80%, economics I'm doing 65%. That's one. But you should also have a list of, the type of mistakes you're making. For example, did not read the question carefully type of mistake. So I made about, sorry for all the stupid spelling mistakes I keep on doing all the time. Did not read the question. Let's say I've made about, this mistake 7% of the questions, right? And don't know the concept. I had no idea what that question was about. And let's say this is about, 35% of the time. I'm just making up something. Now, what this will do is this will give you some insight on where you are in your study curve. For example, if you make too many did not know the concept mistakes, then clearly you're not well prepared. You haven't gone through the curriculum so well. So then you might want to consider, deferring to the next attempt, especially now that CFA Institute provides you that option. But if a lot of your concept, a lot of your mistakes were, let's say, I simply forgot. I knew when I read the solution, I figured out what it was, but I did not remember it. Then what you need is revision. If you're not reading the question, then obviously what you need is better attention. So you need to work on your ability to focus, right? And that comes with some practice. So once you start splitting your mistakes into because not every mistake is same, right? Some people are scoring less because they just don't know what it is, whereas some people are scoring less because they're too frivolous. Like I was one of them. uh, I used to get so excited on my exams and throughout my academic career, right, that I would be like, okay, you know what, I nailed this, and then in that rush of the moment I'll try to do it fast and mess it up somewhere. Like a lot of my common mistakes I remember during my CA exams was my calculator will give me some number, and on the paper I would write something else, and it's very stupid, but I knew I was doing it. So when I was writing the exam, I was very conscious about it. You need to know what type of exams you're making, what type of mistakes you're making, and this process you want to repeat for the rest of the day, right? So if you're going to write 9 mocks, then obviously you are dedicating 9 days of your preparation cycle just doing this. So 9 days out of 30 days, let's say we are allocating 9 days here. Okay. Then what else do you need to do? What else you need to do is you need to practice a ton of questions depending on the analysis that you get, right? So let's say you write a couple of mocks and you figure out consistently I'm scoring low in economics. Consistently, not 1 or 2, but I've taken 3 mocks, all the 3 mocks have scored low in economics. you know economics is your weak subject, right? So you want to practice questions on economics, and I would recommend you practice questions both vertically and more so horizontally. And I've spoken about this multiple times before. Vertically means you take a subject, let us say economics, and then you start solving the questions sequentially from your learning ecosystem. Horizontally would mean you solve, one question from, or let's say 5 questions from economics, then you jump to 5 questions from quant, then you do 5 questions from FRA, and throughout the day you keep on repeating that cycle for yourself. Okay. Now, as you approach the exams, more and more practice should be done horizontally. That means you want to practice as many questions as you can. So fix a schedule, right? So say that half of the day, the days on which I'm not writing the mock, half of the day I'm going to practice questions, or 70% of the day I'm going to practice questions. What will you do for rest of the day? So this is where you want to spend your energy in revising. Okay. Now, how do you revise? What's a very efficient way? Obviously, you guys have access to this crash course, which I'm recording now. What you do is take those juice notes with you. Okay. Maybe take a printout and then go in the market and buy those flags. I don't know what are they called, right? Those things that stick out when you paste them. And what you do is start reading these juice notes, see which parts you understand well and which parts you feel I'm not. There are certain parts in the juice notes, you look at them and I know this really well. There are certain pieces you feel I don't understand this well. Start applying those flags there. And next time when you read juice notes, just read through the flags and keep a target that slowly I'll start removing the flags. Matlab, that means something that I understood really well, something that I did not understand earlier. Now that I've revised a few times, now I start feeling more confident. I feel like I don't need to look at this, so I'm removing the flag. And the target is when you reach the exam, you have like very few flags, right? You have like just 10, 20 that you want to look at on the last day, and then you're done. So this is roughly the game plan in terms of how you want to approach the next 30 days. Obviously, like if you go on YouTube, you would see I have a lot of 30 days videos, and my strategy of approaching these 30 days have evolved with time, learning from candidate experiences. I feel this will work really well in terms of how you go about things. Now, one final thing that I want to add to this is the ethics. Okay, now my assumption is because at FinTree we spend a lot of emphasis on doing those ethics exams during mid-season mock. So my assumption is you've gone through entire ethics curriculum at least once carefully. Preferably you've read a curriculum so that you're acquainted with or comfortable with the language. Now what you want to do with ethics is you want to keep on spending some amount of time every day on doing ethics, preferably practicing questions. Okay, so maybe keep a target of doing, let's say, a reasonable 30 questions a day. Should take you roughly about an hour to do 30 questions. And every day consistently you do it for next 30 days, you're looking at roughly 900 odd questions. That's a decent amount of practice on ethics. The additional recommendation that I'm going to add is in the last 3 days, right, of your exam, increase your time for ethics from 1 hour a day to about 3 hours a day. All right, like increase the number of questions to maybe 100 questions a day. You can probably do all the curriculum examples or curriculum end of the chapter questions one more time, but spend some good amount of time on ethics in the last 2-3 days is like a good warm-up, so that when you show up for the exam, that momentum is already built up for you. So I think this is my plan. I think this should work out well. In terms of mindset, what works for me is, I can tell you, obviously, all of us are different in terms of how. But see, when I took the exams, it was also very high stakes for me, everything wise, like career wise and money wise, and all of this, because I was into some other course that time, CA, but I kind of knew that I was not going to work, like a CA, because I was not enjoying that work so much. So CFA was important, because if not CFA, then what else, right? Then I have no career. And even money wise, like that's a lot of money. Yeah, it was almost my 1 year of salary at that time. So, the same story. If you fail, then you lose the money, right? That kind of thing. And plus, there were no classes those days, or I didn't have any friends who were writing the CFA. So you don't know if you're doing okay or if you're not doing okay, if you're being too fast or too slow. So what I was doing for myself is like a very simple plan, which was just take one day at a time. Like rather than thinking about what will happen to results, what if I lose this money, what if I fail, what would my friends say? Because like my friends were like, okay, this guy is doing some American course, that's so cool, right? So what will my friends say? Like let's not think about that, just one day at a time. And I know it's a little tough because throughout the day there will be those moments where that thought will cross your mind, and then suppress that thought there itself, just one day at a time, right? I have a target. So when you start your day in the morning, preferably a day before the night, write down what your target is for the next day. Get up in the morning, read that target the first thing. And I do it even today. I have my own list, like a small diary of sorts. So I write it in the night, I read that first thing in the morning in terms of how I'm going to spend my day. Works out beautifully, right? And then like a tunnel vision, right? So the only thing that I care about is that I hit my targets for the day, and that's it. And I'm doing the best I can. And then next day, I'll take it as the day comes. And then step by step, as you progress, automatically you would see that things are starting to work. All right. So this is roughly how you want to approach in terms of how to think, uh, in terms of how to study, how to manage your time. In terms of time allocation, if you're working, I can imagine it's very challenging for you to do all of this. So you can prioritize this as your number one in terms of priority. And then obviously, this becomes number two, and this becomes number three from a sequential perspective. Make sure you write all those 9 mocks, irrespective whether you're working, not working, you have full day time. Like, of course, it's an hustle, but you'll have to figure that out. And if you're a full-time student, then you have time at hand, so make good use of those 12, 14 hours a day. Also try to work on your stamina. As I said, you have to sit almost for those 5.5 hours at a stretch, right? You get a small window, but it just disappears. So you want to push yourself to sit like this, and with intense focus. A lot of people have difficulty here in the second part because they're mentally exhausted. So if you don't practice this now, you're going to experience it the first time on the final test. So you don't want that to happen to yourself. So practice it now. Right? Push yourself to sit through this longer duration cycle in one sitting. And once your body gets used to it, then exam is just one more experience. That's it.